Hello, stream, and welcome to the STiKS 1v1. I know I haven't done one of these in a couple weeks, but I wanted to give something to you guys. And just so you know, we're going to start doing this every Thursday from now on. Before we get into the show and start talking to Drifter, I do want to show some love to Goalie TV, the best producer on the STiKS, pun is intended, that is behind the scenes producing this show for you guys today. And also want to tell you that you can use Kingdom, code Kingdom, to get 10% off G Fuel, or use the code STiKS to get 5% off of your Scuff Gaming purchases. Hello, Drifter. How you doing?
Hey, doing good. Nice to be on the show. You can also use code Drift on Scuff. Just kidding.
You
just
can,
kidding.
but
no, STiKS is a better code.
Yeah,
easier to
we're just
remember.
getting started. We're just we're just getting into the mix of using our Scuff Gaming discount code. So Drifter, I wanted to ask a couple preliminary questions before we get into the 1v1 questions from Twitter. And one of them is like, how did you get into doing what you're doing on YouTube, talking about weapons, and when did that start, and how did you get into it?
So I've done YouTube for a very long time. I did it back in the Halo Machinima days where everybody was trying to be the next Red versus Blue. Call of Duty was just picking up, and I got into an argument with a friend of mine about FMJ. He's like, bro, it adds one little point of damage. It makes me kill faster. I'm like, no, it doesn't. It's just wall penetration. And we argued for like 3 hours. So then I got on the internet to prove to him that it doesn't add any extra damage, and he still disagreed with me. So then I started looking deeper into the code, and I found the Den Kierson forums, and I found stat charts, and I found there's a whole lot of people that were really interested in the game, and I kind of had an idea that maybe I should make guides. Maybe I should bring to light the real numbers behind Call of Duty, because at the time it was 100% field-based, and nobody knew anything about any of that sort of stuff. And I got lucky. Call of Duty blew up. The guides were popular, and it just kind of stuck. And I've been rolling with it ever since then. Sometimes you get sometimes I've done well, sometimes I've made mistakes, but just been here in the COD scene, making guides, trying to make everybody smarter players.
So you are nearing 800,000 subscribers on YouTube. Have you seen an increase in the number of people watching the guides? Or I notice you don't just upload that, you upload other content. You don't always talk about weapon balancing. You had a video recently about like want versus need, which really didn't have anything to do with Call of Duty. Like
No, it doesn't. No.
I
Totally
thought
different.
I actually was kind of inspired by some of the things you were saying about smoking and all that kind of stuff, and how, you know, there's things that, you know, the statement I think that sometimes said, we get what we want, or we buy what we want, and we beg for what we need. That's the statement that kept coming to my mind as I was watching your video, is like, instead of going after what we need, we want what we want, and we want it to be readily available to us. We don't care if it's bad for us or not.
Exactly.
I thought that was a good video. Are you noticing a decline in the percentage of your subscribers that are watching like the videos on weapons and weapon balancing?
Oh yeah,
and
definitely.
Stuff like that?
So like views are up this year over last year, and subs are up. It's actually doing, Call of Duty in general is doing better this year. But Call of Duty is not what it was 2 or 3 years ago. Proportionally, there's less people watching guides, less people interested, et cetera, et cetera. Hoping for a big boom when Treyarch drops their next game. But there's also a channel breakage there. It's kind of funny. Like, the bigger your channel gets, the less total percent of people are going to be watching your videos, because you get a lot of people that are subbed to like 200 people. So there's definitely like a breakage there. And you can look at like, I'll talk about Ali A, not saying anything bad about him, Ali A fans or anything like that. Dude's got like 5 million subs, but sometimes he only gets 200 to 500,000 views on a video, which is still a lot, but that's only, you know, 10% total views, which is not really that impressive compared to somebody that's got like 30,000 and they'll get 20,000 views. But like, the bigger you get, the lower that sort of breakage becomes.
That's very, very true. You know, I've experienced the exact same thing. When I was smaller, I used to get like, when I had, I think, 12,000 viewers, like 7,000, 8,000 views per video was amazing. You know, it's like, yes. But now that I have 35K, it's kind of like whenever I get less than 10,000, I kind of feel like, oh, that video didn't do as good as I wanted it to, you know? And so it's definitely a balancing game. And I think I made an inaccurate judgment that Advanced Warfare was going to be a game where gameplay commentaries were going to be popular again. And it didn't happen. Vlogs are taking over. And putting your face in front of the camera is like almost a requirement now, to have a video boosted above where you want it to go. And like, even your video, like, I was watching some of your videos, and the ones that have just the weapons, they're like that. And I'm going to talk about this. The BAL video that you had, was the BAL versus the AK-12, was really good. Didn't have a face on it, But then when you did the wants versus needs, I found myself actually spending more time staring at the screen as a result. I mean, just of you being on there, like you were talking to me about something. And so I think that there is a clear difference. And I kind of wanted to ask, before we get into these questions, in the BAL versus the AK-12 video,
Okay.
you made the assertion that everybody likes using the BAL, but the AK-12 is viable, and that you
Very
could
viable, yes.
even use it in esports.
It could be used on some of the bigger maps in some situations. I don't think that they will use it because, like I said, the BAL. One fact I actually forgot is that at long ranges, if you get a headshot with a BAL, that's going to change your shots to kill. It's going to make it kill faster, whereas AK headshots aren't very useful. But stuff like the BAL, it pumps out more damage. You get more flinch, more blood on the screen. That's why people blow up with stuns, because they're only one hit point away from dying. Whereas the AK, that's not as much. I do know some people that used AK in game battles, in ranked play, in that sort of stuff. And I think one or two pros have used AKs on long range maps.
Yeah.
But it's not going to do up close, nasty, dirty work like the BAL is. I think the AK is very, very, very viable for public matches. It's a great gun. Also with those great iron sights and silencer, very, very good. But for competitive, I think that they're going to go with the BAL just because it has that slight, little hedging on damage.
Mid-range damage, yeah.
But I do try to encourage the more competitive players to try new things, because the AK doesn't have a wind-up time. It's inherently a lot more accurate. You can do nice things with it. I mean, they're just now moving over to doing a little bit of IMR work. They're very reluctant to change things because they're all about winning. We got something that works and it works well. I don't need to try any of your crazy stuff, Drifter.
Yeah, the IMR, I mean, Clayster was using it a lot, to hold down certain spots. The anchor roll, now that they keep switching the spawns, is actually starting to be a thing on Advanced Warfare. And you can see players using the IMR to hold, like, the back of Turtle, like, on hardpoint. They're holding that spot with, like, they're at the bottom of the steps, just holding that spot with the IMR. And so I think it's all viable, and everything changes as they change the weapons, which I guess has got to be frustrating for you with all these variants.
No, that's great. That means I can make like 8 more in-depth videos.
More content for the win.
Yeah.
So Goalie, my producer, mentioned to me that your hair in your Avi on Twitter is glorious. That's exactly what he said. So why did you cut it off?
Basically, I have what you would call an Anglo-fro, or stoned white guy hair. I've had it for a long time. Perhaps mad scientist, or I don't believe in showering hair. It's not always the most flattering look, even though it fit pretty well on me. And I change my hair a lot, actually. I don't know how long you've been following me. My fans will know. If you go back in time, like I'll vary between growing my hair down to here and completely shaved, or just like little mohawks. I got one hair. I tried to like slick it back like an 80s villain, like I'm going to shut down the ski lodge. But it really just made me look more like a lesbian that's trying to dress more manly. And didn't pan out very well. But I hit a time I was like, you know what, I want to change again. I decided, you know what, I've always wanted dyed hair. I've always wanted to do it. I have a job that I don't have to go into an office. I don't have to have people judge me. This is esports. I am dressed like, not esports, like this is gaming. I'm dressed like a gamer. Gamers dye their hair, they do crazy things. You can do it, and you can have fun. And I just decided to go for something totally different and fun. I got it cut, I dyed it. It was sticking up for a bit, but it is actually growing out and it's starting to fluff on the sides. It's going back to that glorious Twitter avatar. And for those of you that are watching out there, either on YouTube or on Twitch, whether it's live or not, I encourage you to do whatever you want with your hair or your beard or your face or your dress, because you only get one go around, and if you can't have fun with it, there's no point whatsoever.
And we have one of my co-hosts, Hitch, has what he calls a Jufro, which is basically exactly what you have, like in your Skype profile picture. That's what he has, but it's a different color. And the other one, Smiting Fatty, usually formerly known as Smiting Fatty, he used to have a gigantic, like, just beard on his face that was huge. He cut it because he's looking for work, and he's actually in the Castoff, which is why our viewership is going to be inconsistent for the show, because he's in the Castoff right now on MLG. So we hope that Fatty goes through. I'm really I'll throw some prayers towards Fatty. All right, so we're going to take a 30-second commercial break, and then when we come back, we're going to jump right into the questions from Twitter with Drifter. We'll be right back, guys. What were you going to Hello, and hello, Hitch. I see that you are in the chat, and I did talk about your Jufro. So Drifter, I think, wanted to mention his favorite from yesterday on the Castoff.
The Castoff. I wanted to support Ron the Don or Fox the Don at Rondez Green. He's got so many names. You know who I'm talking about. Every platform he's on, he's got a different name. I wanted to support him, and I also wanted to support Smiting, formerly known as Smiting Fatty. I actually kind of like helped him get into the internet way back in the day. Like he won an Elgato capture card from me by
Wow.
dressing up in a pink tutu and singing, "This is a teacup. Here's my handle. Here's
Okay.
my spout."
Where is
And
this? Where is
where
this
is
video?
this? I have the video here on my desktop, actually. I don't
Oh
know if I can
my
send it. But
goodness.
basically, it was like, make a funny video and I'll send you this Elgato capture card. Show me you can do something fun with it. So him and his friend dressed up like girls and they put lampshades on their heads for whatever reason and sang. And I sent it to him. But then he started making commentary with it, right? And he started getting into casting and stuff. And he just kept
Yeah.
going and going. And I've been supporting him all the way. He actually won Gamer Fitness Season 1 because he lost like 50 or 60 pounds. It was crazy. So I want to see him go all the way. I also want to see Ron go all the way. So
Awesome.
I've got a lot of friends in this cast off. I want everybody to win. We'll just move out all the old casters and move new ones in. But
If
I'm friends with the
if
old casters, so that can't work either.
now is this video, did you upload it to your channel or anything, or you just kept it yourself? The video that
I
Fatty
uploaded
sent
it
you?
to my channel, but it's mixed in with like a montage of other ones. Do you want me to just send it to you?
If you can, yeah, because that's priceless. That's that
Okay,
was
I'll just drop it in Skype and see what happens.
all right. That's fine. All right. The first question.
There we go. It's in there if you guys want to download it and play it on the show. Smiting will love it, I guarantee you.
The first question from Twitter. Hold up. This is not why my computer is being annoying. It comes from Josh, and I do know what he said, but let me make sure I get it right.
I've actually got all the links open. I was ahead of time today.
Oh, awesome. So Joshy P, he is a part of the STiKS family. He asks tips to get over the hump of small channel growth. I'm stuck in a rut right now, and it would be nice to get out of it.
That's a tough one. I'm going to give you the honest answer, but it's not the answer you want to hear. You have to be patient and you have to be lucky. Consistent. You have to upload every day. You don't give up. You don't quit. You don't get mad because you're not the next Hutch or C-Nanners. And there will be some days where videos are miserable failures. If you stick with it, eventually you'll have some viral successes, some moderate successes, mediate. You'll get some good collaborations. You'll have a random guy stop by and like your video and blow it up with views. But you just got to keep going every single day. Every day is a gamble. Every day is an opportunity, and you will eventually make it. It feels really grindy and slow, but it's like a snowball. Like getting the first 100 subscribers is harder than getting 500. Getting 500 is harder than getting 5,000. Getting 5,000 is harder than getting like 20 or 30,000. And it just keeps going and going and going, and you will get there if you're patient. It took me like 2 or 3 years to get my channel going anywhere. So keep that in mind. It takes a long time.
I agree 100%. It does get harder to maintain. It gets harder to keep growing. I'll say that. You can keep 5,000 viewers putting out a video once a week, but if you want to continue to grow, then you are going to have to be consistent. Consistency, in my opinion, is the most important. You put out a video, oh, I can't remember the name of it. I think it was YouTube 101 or something like
Yeah,
that.
I did a last year I was doing a series
Yes.
for Elgato, YouTube 101. They wanted a YouTube guide in general. So that was
Everyone
part
should
of it.
watch that. If you are doing YouTube, I did it as part of my best competitive vids of the week that I do every Friday. If you want to grow on YouTube, watch YouTube 101. It was a great video. I mean, I couldn't disagree with anything you said in that video.
Good. I'm glad to have so much support.
All right. So, question number 2 comes from Ravioli, aka at Tristan Jones, and he says, "Would you like Treyarch to continue the use of exosuits in their next title?"
That's very mixed feelings for me. I personally like the exosuits. So I came from Quake and Unreal and very fast-paced games. Things like Titanfall were very natural to me, like Tribes and stuff. So exosuits in Call of Duty are great. I love the bouncing and jumping around. A lot of my friends and a lot of the casual gamers really haven't taken to it as well as I thought they would. Pros are a mixed bag. But I think
Yeah.
like average Joe gamer, who is your core market for Call of Duty, wasn't quite as warm to them as planned. So maybe going back to regular on like ground running around might be better. And also kind of for me, so as much as I like exosuits, they do kind of throw the spawns for a loop when you can zip across the map really, really fast. So I think it might it might be easier to balance spawn-wise without them. Then again, I don't know. I really like them. I'm really torn on this. This is kind of hard, and it's also, if you've gone back and played older CODs, like I played Black Ops 2 the other day, and man, I just like, okay, boost, go
Yep.
boost, and it just wasn't doing it. I'm already addicted to the speed of the Exo, so it'll be hard to go back.
Yeah, it's. I mean, you think about going from like the garage on raid to let's say the money room or something like across that's almost across the whole map, and so getting there is like a 5 second difference when you have an exosuit. And when I played Black Ops 2 last week, 2 weeks ago, I did the same thing. I kept trying to like the boost, like when you're running and you just boost, you hit your scuff button and then you push forward, and it's like I kept trying to do it over and over and over, and it took me about an hour to get used to Black Ops 2 controls. It's I'm torn as well. It's hard to choose. Very
And we
hard.
used to think dolphin diving was revolutionary. I do hope they keep the slide from Ghosts. Like the slide mechanic in Ghosts and how they incorporated that in this game works really, as much as I thought the dolphin dive was fun, you can never shoot while dolphin diving, and the slide was always a lot more practical. I hope they keep that.
Yeah, that would be good. Yeah, dolphin diving was fun for interesting like montages and stuff like that, jumping out of a window or something. There were fun ways to get away from people with dolphin diving. So next question comes from bpixcod at bpixcod, and he says your thoughts on how to improve gun balancing or most underrated guns that pros aren't using or
All right,
should
I'll give
they?
an
Yeah.
answer to both of these.
Hmm.
We'll do, let's see, thoughts on how to improve gun balancing. We'll do that first. I do feel that the ASM-1 needs a slight nerf. A lot of people think it's like the most OP broken thing in Call of Duty, and I'm like, clearly you don't remember Modern Warfare 3 or 2 or any of those guns. The problem with it is the three-shot kill range is it's better than all the other SMGs except the KF5, but the KF5 is special because it's got the weird like bonus damage in the first shots, and it bursts. The first 8 shots are 1,000 RPM, so it's really melty. It's not as melty as the two-shot kills that we had in Ghost, but you die pretty quick when there's lag, and it's kind of frustrating. I
Yeah.
think, and they did that because the initial three-shot range on the gun when the game first came out was miserable. You could be like reaching out, like touching the other guy, and it would still take 6 shots to kill. I think they need to scale back the range on the ASM-1 probably about 25%, maybe 30 in that kind of range. Maybe add a smidge more recoil. I feel that the AMR9 definitely needs a buff. MP11 is actually okay as is, and the SN6 probably needs a little buff. MK14, Mark 14 needs a complete rework. ARX is almost broken and unusable. I mean, the three-shot kill range is less than that of a shotgun. If we fix that, the ARX will actually become a very good gun, very
Yeah.
viable again. I think that the AK and the BAL and the HBAR and the IMR are all pretty much balanced. A lot of people say the BAL is very unbalanced. I personally don't have an issue with it. After they nerfed it, the three-shot kill range is like literally right in your face. It's like 1/3 of shotgun range, so it's not nearly as bad. And as we were talking about earlier, especially in public matches, the AK is very competitive, so people just don't use it as much. They stick with what works, really. So those are doing fine. LMGs and heavy weapons are doing. Some of the EPM3 could use a little rework, and maybe something like the Lynx. Like they said, they got 15 weapons that they're going to tune and buff. I
Yeah.
feel like if we're going to nerf anything, it should be a tiny nerf on the ASM-1 and a lot of buffs all around. Like, let's bring the other guns up to par, but maybe not too far up to par because then it'll be like melty like Ghost. And most underrated guns that the pros aren't using, we talked about the AK. I think that could be really good for some maps, maybe not all of them. And one thing I think I recommended to Nameless, he never really took to it, is the Moore's KF5 combo. So a lot of pros, when they snipe, they also run like an ASM-1 as their backup weapon.
Yep. Yep.
Well, the ASM-1 swaps a lot slower than the KF5. You can actually draw the KF5 super, super fast, but you have a little cocking animation. But you can get around that by having the KF5 as your primary weapon and the Morse as your secondary. You won't have to do the little cocking. And by fast, I mean, like you hit Y and it's a boom and it's out. So you can like run it. So you'll start with the KF5. As soon as you spawn, you swap to the Morse to snipe. And whenever in a pinch, you hit Y and you can pull out the KF5 like super, super fast. Like you can pull out fast enough to dump out like 5 or 6 rounds before you could even draw the ASM-1. And I know that, the KF5 is not as good and competitive as the ASM-1, but as a backup weapon, it's absolutely excellent. And I think the Moore's KF5 overkill would be something that pros could get a lot of use out of, especially with fast hands. It works great.
Awesome.
That was a long answer.
No, that's a secret little pro tip you just gave us there. Because the KF5 is the primary and the Morse is the secondary.
Yep.
All right, I like it. Maybe. Well, I think, like you said earlier, pros are just so comfortable with what works. They're very scared to start using anything else unless they see another pro using it and it's effective.
Except Fizzerp, he'll do all kind of weird stuff.
Yes, and unfortunately, well, yeah, we'll see if it pays off
Yeah, I think that's just a
in the
mind game for him.
qualifiers. Yeah, yeah. I mean, he's the type of person that experiments. I mean, you watch him and Killa on stream sometimes, and they're like, "Look at this spot I found beneath this truck next to this rock, where you can see all the way to the A bomb." You know, I mean, it's like those guys are just that's what they do. You know, they're nerds. We're all nerds, but you know,
Oh no,
they find the
they
nerd
all are.
spots.
So I played with Envy a while back, and they were talking about it, and they were showing me all these spots I didn't know, and I was like, "How did you learn this?" And they told me like Drifter, we play on the same maps 8 hours a day every single day. Like you don't realize when this game first came out, we probably spent 2 days just walking around this map, searching every single corner for the craziest spots you can imagine. Like we know these maps, we study hard. Like oh wow, that's actually very impressive. That's more than me.
Yeah, the funny thing about is that you watch guys doing pubs that may get, 100 kill gameplays and stuff like that, but pros, they know spots that we don't even know exist, and you won't see them until they're in search and destroy or something like that, and they need that spot and they use it, and you're like, what? I remember a spot on Express where you could jump like on the window of the train to get to the top or something. I saw some pro did it, and I never knew it was possible. It was like it was an easy spot, but that's how they roll. So goalie, I skipped to the question from Emiconic. It's like three questions down because the other two questions basically he already answered in the opening. And so this question is from Giles Meekin. How do you say that? Giles Meekin, something like that. And he asked, is skills-based matchmaking detrimental to the COD experience, or is it vital for gaining new fans to the series?
Well, this is very controversial. I cannot give a good answer without the hate squad coming. Skill-based matchmaking, I don't think it's as detrimental as everyone thinks it is. People believe that it overrides all other matchmaking values and causes terrible lag. In my experience, I have not seen evidence of this. There is definitely some weird matchmaking problem. I have not seen anybody be able to prove that skill-based matchmaking causes it, and I haven't seen skill-based matchmaking cause it, but ultimately it is a filter and it's doing something. I just don't know what it is. But as for the COD experience, there's people that believe that skill-based matchmaking causes all your KDs to average down closer to 1. It makes you play at your maximum potential every single game in every lobby, and that ruins the casual experience. Like, you just can't get on and play for fun. You have to try real hard every time.
Yeah.
It makes it kind of grindy. And there's also the idea that the lobbies should be random. Public matches should just be completely random. There'll be good kids and bad kids on every team, and that the bad ones will have to get beat a couple of times to get better and move on up, and that totally makes sense. I don't think it's that bad. I totally understand and to some extent agree with those, but we're on like COD 8, 9, 10?
Yeah, I don't even know. It's been so long.
And you have people that are like really, really awesome. And I think the idea was to try to prevent these like 8-year veterans from smashing the ever-living crap out of people that just bought this game for the first time. Because if that's your first time playing it, you're probably not going to play it too many more times. Especially like gaming now is different than it used to be. Like people that lost a couple of years back, they're not apt to losing anymore. They like to get a nice introductory experience.
Yeah.
Like they get smashed, they'll go to a different game that they can do good at. And I'm very indifferent. I don't think it's that even strong. Like when I found it had plus or minus 0.4 KD bands. So like if you have a 1 KD, you can play people with all like a 0.6 or a 1.4. And that was pretty much true all over. So the actual bands were pretty big.
Yeah.
And everybody would say, this forces me to play with sweaty tryhards every single game. Every game, it's all these campers, and all they use is ASM1 and BALs. It's all like these MLG pros. And I was like, all right, show me, take screenshots of the lobbies and show me. And they did, and nobody was really matching with people over 1.2 or 1.3 KD very often.
Yeah.
So they're not like, they're good. They're better than average. They're not that amazing. And it's like every game for me is ASM1 and BAL. And I'm like, I can guarantee you if you go down into these 0.5 KD games, every single game is still going to be ASM1 and BAL. You're not going to find like the pistol only crew hardly ever. You're going to get people using what's best because they want to win. I think skill-based matchmaking doesn't hurt COD very much, and if we left it in, I think it'd be okay. If we removed it, I think it'd be okay. I really don't think anybody would have ever noticed if Fisticuffs didn't find that one random little line of code and tweet it out. That's where it started when the game first came out. They tweeted out one line of code out of thousands that
Yeah,
says matchmaking skill was a variable, and people's minds exploded. Like, if they hadn't done that, nobody would have even noticed or known it was there.
that is very true. People would have just said, that people were better at this game, but I can attest to in COD 4, the first time I played COD 4, I played for 2 games. I got utterly annihilated. It was the first Call of Duty I'd ever touched. I didn't pick up Call of Duty again until Modern Warfare 2. And that was like, I mean, it was, wait, let me see. Yeah, that's right. Because Black Ops came out after that, right?
Yeah.
Because it was COD 4, World at War. Yeah. So Modern Warfare 2, I picked up the STiKS, I grabbed an ACR, and I did good. I went like 17-6 or something, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is great. So then I went back and played COD 4 and tried World at War for 5 minutes. I actually tried to play it with my wife, put it down, never touched it again. It just wasn't my type of game. And I played Modern Warfare 2 like crazy. I mean, it was just, I grabbed an intervention, became a sniper, and then my COD history became what it was, and now I'm talking about competitive Call of Duty, which is amazing because I started watching it in Black Ops 1. So I'm going to skip to the last question because we're running out of time. And this is from 50 Bomb Maddie. I don't know if this is the guy that does the 50 Bomb podcast, but probably
Okay.
is. 50 Bomb Maddie Gomer Saul. And he asked you to predict the finals for COD champs.
I go. Um.
That's a tough question.
Um. Dude, I am so not up to speed on the performance of every team and even how the brackets look, and like I'm just gonna have some jokes and be like, Envy versus Optic final round, best of 11. I don't know. We're on like game maximum last round of Search and Destroy 1v1
Mhm.
final. I want to see it go to the wire like the first COD champs. That was really really fun.
Yeah, you're talking about that was
That was Envy versus Impact. I
yeah,
think it
that
got
was
down
epic.
last like it didn't go to the final round. It was like the next to possible as
Yeah,
far as it could go. It was really good.
we went to round 10. That was one of the best. I think that's one of the most memorable tournaments that anybody can remember because Envy
We'll
came
do
so
Envy
close.
versus Optic and just blow up the viewers.
Yeah, that sounds good. I mean, or we could do Optic versus Optic, and then it'd be
That would be so wrong. Could you imagine looking at that? Watch Optic Gaming take on Optic Nation in the final round of the Optic Championship.
It's
Tune in live to
possible.
see Hex win half of the prize pool just on his own.
Yeah, the
Actually,
house
he's won like
the house
80%.
always wins. It's like the hex always wins.
Yeah.
At the end of the
All right,
day.
so you said you were running out of time, but I know there's three people that had other questions. I want to do a super fast lightning
Go
round
ahead.
because I don't believe in leaving people out.
Do
So,
it.
which COD game had the best weapon balance, and what other non-COD game had the best balance? Black Ops 1 had excellent weapon balance. Unfortunately, it made the weapons kind of boring. League of Legends has excellent balance. I'll just say that. Do you ever get tired of doing tips after tips after tips after tips? Yes. And the next thing is, which streaks would be viable for COD comp? None of them right now, because the points that you have to get to earn a streak are not worth just having an extra perk or something. If they had to have streaks, then I would say definitely something like the Vulcan or the bombing run or that annoying little rocket assault drone from hell.
Awesome. That was a very good lightning round. You sped through that. I I heard you say yes to making tips videos. Like, you have future plans? Are you gonna like change your content, or are you
I
just
cannot talk about future plans right now, but tips
oh
videos will continue for quite a long time. I
okay?
don't have a problem, but sometimes just I do the same thing for over and over and over and over again. It's sometimes like I get like 120 something episodes into in depth, and it's like, what is there left to talk about? I can't. It's just like,
Well, and now you have weapon variants
yeah.
that you can make
Oh,
full videos about the different versions of the BAL, the different
hmm.
versions of the ASM1, and how it compares. And I mean,
That actually works pretty
yeah,
well because a lot of it is stat chart reading, but sometimes what's on the stat chart is not what's in the game, or
yeah.
what the thing says it is not how it actually performs. So there's room for me to do things.
I think that's really awkward. I saw when you did like the test with the AK-12 versus the BAL, and I was like, so even though it says that there's a difference, there isn't always a difference. Like,
Correct. I'm actually going to have to redo that because I've had a lot of PlayStation 4 fans say that it performs differently on PlayStation 4. So I need to get my wife's PS4 copy and test that out later tonight.
wow. Well, I'm glad that you're dedicated to your fans like that. I mean, that's pretty dope. All right, so the 1v1. Go ahead, goalie. What? Yeah, yeah, I know, I know, I know, I know. So I'm gonna ask the 1v1 question, and then goalie's gonna show you guys the smiting fatty tutu lampshade video that won him. What did he win? Elgato?
I just opened it up, and yes, this is amazing. This is definitely going to help him win the Castoff.
Tweet it out, guys. Tweet it out. Tweet it out. Fatty in a tutu. All right, so the 1v1 question: if you were in a 1v1 versus, I'm not going to say that guy.
You can say any guy, I don't care.
No, I know, but the viewers would crucify you. If you were in a 1v1 with Woody's gamer tag on Black Ops 1, and let's just say you're playing, let's say you're playing Summit 1v1 Domination.
I win.
Oh, all right.
Instant, like, I don't know if anybody watched me during Black Ops 1. I was the Akimbo Scorpion Master. I actually did competitive and game battles with Akimbo Scorpions because Akimbo was only banned for secondaries but not primaries. I can't tell you how many tryouts I got kicked out of after winning because they said Akimbos aren't allowed when they were, or tournaments. I played in the original COD, what was it, the COD Showdown, the Call of Community with Akimbo Scorpions, and I was fighting against Big Timer. We actually won our first round of domination, even when White Boy wasn't playing and randomly throwing C4 everywhere. And then the second round, when he actually started playing, we lost somehow. It was kind of frustrating. But I made Akimbo montages. I was so incredibly good with those guns. Summit was my favorite map from any Call of Duty game ever. I must have played Summit Domination like a bajillion times. Almost nobody beats me with Akimbo Scorpion. Like, the only person that ever beat me was Big Timer, and that's only because I'm just saying this very specific thing. Anything else, he'll smack me. I had to have all these other perks to make Akimbo work right, so I couldn't have what was it? What was it called in that game where you can't hear the footsteps? It changes all the time. Ninja? Was it Ninja in that game? So he learned after the first game that I was the guy stamping around. So second round, I got smacked really hard. But no, I did a lot of Akimbo Scorpion. I would win against Woody's gamer tag in that situation. You picked like my best situation.
Dang. Well, hey, who knows? Now, how come they don't do that anymore? Like where they have the pros versus the pup stompers. Like those things were cool.
That's not something I really want to talk about on stream.
Oh, alrighty then.
Sorry.
No, you're good. We will move on to the smiting fatty. I don't even know what to call this video, but
have you seen it?
I have not.
You're gonna love it.
All right, go ahead and play it, goalie. Fatty teapot. Tell me when you start, because I'll start it on my computer.
I'm a little teapot, short and stout. Here is my handle, here is my spout. When I get all steamed up, hear me shout. Tip me over and pour me out.
Who was the other guy?
I was a friend of his.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and I used to do contests back in the day. I never did like, follow, favorite, whatever. It was all like, I asked my fans to make like creative short videos and stuff. And the idea was, it always felt kind of frustrating when somebody would win a capture card or something randomly on Twitter and then not know how to use it or just beg for tips and shout outs. So the idea was, let's see what people can make with what they already have. And if they can do something good with relatively no equipment, when they get good equipment, then the capture card's going to go to the best possible person. And I sent it to Fatty that time. Actually, I think that time, I think he actually just won a T-shirt. He won the capture card some other time. That was just for a T-shirt, I think.
He did something else and won a capture card?
Yeah, I don't know.
Dang, Fatty's
That was
like
just the
entering all
T-shirt.
these.
I
I
can't
know
remember.
he entered a casting competition with Benson that we did show that on stream one time because he was failing over and over and over. He uploaded it to his channel. All right, thank you very much, Drifter, for coming on the show. I greatly appreciate it. Hopefully, you guys have received some great wisdom and knowledge about the weapons in Call of Duty and how to beat Big Timer on Summit Domination
Yeah,
with Akimbo. What did you say?
Scorpion. It
Akimbo
worked. It
Scorpions.
worked for one round just because I was doing something weird and he wasn't used to it. But like I
Yeah,
said, then he found out I was the footstep guy,
and it
and
was
things
over.
didn't end very well at all.
All right, this will be up on my channel tomorrow, guys. Thank you once again, Drifter. Thank you, Goalie TV, and thank you all of you guys for watching. I am looking forward to seeing Optic Nation go up against Revenge because whichever team loses does not go into Season 2. Whichever team wins does go into Season 2. That's going to be a really good match. I heard TP is actually going to Damon's house, maybe, in order for that match. He's actually going to go there so they can play on the same connection because they got 3-0'd yesterday with, I guess, a horrible connection.
Mhm.
So I will be hopefully in that chat watching that with you guys. But this is Kingdom Soldier and Drifter, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace.